Hi, this is the Business Guy. So how do asset protection trusts work? What happens when the defecation hits the circulatory device and you really need this thing to kick into gear and protect your assets from lawsuits? That's the question that we get a lot of time. A lot of clients say they want control, but the problem is if you have control, that's not control for you, that's control for the judge. So whatever you have control to do, the judge now has that control to tell you what to do. So the key thing is we have to let go a little bit of the control and we have to trust the trustee. That's why it's important to choose trustworthy trustees and trust a company that's been in the business. I've been in the asset protection field for 31 years, and we've had relationships with trustees for 26, 27 years. They have a track record, and they have billions of dollars of our clients' assets under management, and they have a track record of honesty, integrity, and we only use jurisdictions that we feel are the most trustworthy in the world. And by the way, if you appreciate this information, this insight, I'd really appreciate it if you click the like button below so YouTube promotes it. And if you haven't already, please click the subscribe button so when more videos come out like this, you'll be up to date right away. And as a background, I'm the CEO of Lawyers Limited and Asset Protection Planners. The company started in 1906. We have attorneys on staff and are the nation's largest asset protection firm. So when it's time for the trustee to step in and your judgment creditor is trying to get to your funds, what we do in that case is multiple things. So the way we set it up is like this. Let's go ahead and take a look at the iPad now. Okay, here's how we structure our asset protection trust, whether it's a Cook Islands trust, Nevis trust, or even a US-based trust. And if you've seen any of our prior videos, you see that US trusts don't work very well. So here's how we structure things. We set up the trust. This represents this rectangle here, okay? Now, inside this trust, we place an LLC. We typically set up the LLC in the Caribbean island of Nevis, and we'll typically set up a Cook Islands trust to own the Nevis LLC. So why do we do that? What's the reason? We do that because this LLC holds the bank account. Okay, we make you the initial manager typically of the LLC, and you're the signatory on the bank account. Now, as a signatory, the judge can now order you to turn the funds over. And so what we do when the bad thing happens is we have our international law firm step in as manager of that LLC. And so we assign them as manager of the LLC, and you're no longer manager because if you were, the judge can order your funds to be released. And then we also make them the signatory on the bank account. So multiple attorneys must sign, by the way, before anybody can move funds. So you have some very good safeguards in place. Also, like we said, we have a trustee law firm that has a track record of protecting clients' funds. And if you look at the Global Corruption Perceptions Index, the most trusted countries in the world include New Zealand as number one, tied with Denmark. And what is a Cook Islands a part of? It's part of New Zealand. So we're talking about the most trusted jurisdiction in the world, tied for number one with the Cook Islands, which again is part of New Zealand. And again, our trustee law firm is licensed. They went through intensive background checks to get a license. They're insured, bonded by an insurance company. They're in the most trusted jurisdiction in the world, and we have a 27-year track record with them. So in order for that to happen, here's what we need to do. First of all, we assign the trustee law firm as the manager of the LLC. That requires notifying Nevis that your manager of your LLC is changed to the trustee law firm. And then we show that certificate to show the change to the bank to authorize them to be able to be the signatory on your behalf on the bank account. So initially, you're the signatory on the account. With you as a signatory, the judge can order you to release the funds and turn them over. And so we convert that from you being the signatory to the trustee law firm, the lawyers being the signatory on the account. And that way, when the judge tells you to bring the funds back, you write a letter to the trustee saying, the judge is ordering you to turn over those funds. And since the trustee law firm is not under the jurisdiction of your courts, that puts you in a position where you're complying. But if they don't comply, they don't need to because U.S. courts don't have jurisdiction over foreign law firms. So that way your money is protected, safe, and secure. You're able to look at your account online. You can trade your own stocks. I have a Cook Islands trust myself. I go online, look at it. It's fully reported for tax purposes. I trade my own stock shares myself. Can look at my account anytime I want to, log in online. So it's a very secure, safe feeling knowing that my funds are protected and safe in a safe jurisdiction, safer than the US, by the way. And if anything happens here, I'm safe and protected. I can sleep like a baby. Now, in order for the trustee law firm to be signatory on the account, they have to provide significant due diligence, notarized copy of their passport, original utility bill, reference letters. They do background checks on them at the bank level as well. So it's quite a bit of hoop jumping for the trustee to become signatory on the account. And again, the regulations require there be multiple signatories on the account. So not just one person can move funds. It takes multiple attorneys within the law firm to be able to move funds. So if you look at the case law with domestic trustees, U.S. courts have jurisdiction over the local trustees, like a Nevada trust, for example, Wyoming trust, Alaska, Delaware trust. Those trusts don't work very well because they can bring in and depose those trustees. They can sue them and threaten the trustee's own assets to take that trustee's assets away unless they turn your funds over. They can't do that with an offshore trust. They can threaten a domestic trustee with money laundering and all kinds of scary things. And again, if it's the difference between the trustee turning over his own assets or your assets, guess whose assets it's going to be? Now, the offshore trustee doesn't have to comply with that order. They're not subject to the scare tactics. They won't have their own personal assets threatened, so your funds are safe and secure with an international trust. That's how it works, and that's why it's so important to rely on a company that's trustworthy, that's been in the business for years, that has a good, clean, honest track record for protecting clients' funds, and a trustee law firm that we've had a relationship with for years and years and years to show they have a reputation for integrity. Now, without this kind of structure, a case like this would go all the way to trial before a judge, maybe a jury, but with this structure, your opponent is not going to want to spend all that time and money and resources to go all the way to trial, and usually they just settle for pennies on the dollar. That's usually what we've seen happening in reality because they know that once you have this structure in place, there really isn't much they can do to get to the funds and you're protected and safe and secure. Okay, let's say the bad thing goes away, the heat is off, and you want to be back in the driver's seat. You simply inform us and we let the trustee know, make you the manager of the LLC again, and you regain your signatory on the bank account. So that's how that works. Then it puts you back in the driver's seat with all of your money intact. You're the signatory on the account, or you can just leave the trustee a signatory on the account like I do, just in case anything happens in the future. Most people who are in business are sued multiple times. So living an asset protection lifestyle can give you peace of mind that lets you sleep like a baby every single day of your life. And then when your next of kin inherit your funds, you can still keep those assets in the offshore trust and secure it. And you get to decide how you want the funds distributed. Do you want it distributed to them all at once? Do you want them to receive a little bit each month so they don't squander everything? Most inherited wealth is squandered very quickly. So if you want to have a monthly income generated by the investments inside the trust, that really will leave your offspring better off in most cases. So the asset protection trusts are really for a long-term asset protection lifestyle, so your money is safe and secure for the rest of your life, your children's lives, and your grandchildren's lives. So that's a little more insight as to how this works. I hope you got a lot of good out of this. I appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, share this video with others, and we'll see you next time. This is The Business Guy.